Happy Sunday, love bugs. Y'all already know what the deal is. We are going to get to cooking. I told you guys I thought I had another egg in the hole recipe chilling somewhere, and I found the footage. So that's what we're going to do today. This is going to be one of my favorite kind of elevated egg in the hole recipes with avocado and some candied tomatoes. So you're going to add your butter to the pan. Going to get all that melted down, and then we're going to go ahead and start with our bread. And I'm just taking a shot glass and making a hole in the bread, and I'm going to add that to the pan, and we're going to let that toast in the butter. Once the bottom side starts to get nice and toasty, we're going to add eggs into each of the holes that we made in our bread, and then season, of course, to your liking. So let's talk about some 5-star reads. First things first, I finally found a Taj McCoy book that I love. You guys know I was not a big fan of Savvy Sheldon, but Zora Books Her Happy Ever After was my shit, okay? I don't usually like love triangles, but Taj McCoy hit it out of the park with this one. Zora Books Her Happy Ever After is about a middle-aged bookshop owner who books one of her favorite authors to come in and speak. She ends up hitting it off with him, but also finds some pretty heavy attraction with his grumpy best friend, and she decides she doesn't want to choose, so she dates both of them. I absolutely love this book. The communication between the characters, the spice was impeccable, and having a 35-year-old curvy FMC who is just reaching for the stars, achieving all of her goals, and openly exploring dating as I feel like we all should. It was just everything. I loved every single second of it. I enjoyed all of the characters. This was just a fun ride, and apparently Maggie is going to be getting her own book, and that is also going to be a love triangle situation. So big props to Taj McCoy. I ate this up so bad. I've got to go ahead and get a copy in my collection because I think it's one that I want to reread and annotate. And then in the corner, you can see me just pulling out some grape tomatoes. I'm going to chop those in half, and I'm also going to go ahead and get an avocado and have that as well. And then next up, we have The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. My friend Yasmin and I from TikTok were buddy reading this over the past month, and I was absolutely enthralled with the world and the writing. N.K. Jemisin is just fantabulous. There's only so much that I can tell you guys about the plot of this story without giving away major spoilers, but this is a dystopian science fiction featuring Black characters, and we have a lot of political intrigue and a pretty difficult magic system as well. I was enthralled from page 1, and there's just so much to figure out trying to get through the plot of this book. I thought it was so well done. I can't say that all the characters are necessarily lovable, but I found all of the characters enjoyable, and I was so deeply invested in each and every one of their stories. Highly recommend if you love sci-fi, if you love fantasy, if you're looking for more fantasy with Black characters, this is the one for you. Alrighty, so we're gonna get ready to pop these out of the pan now that they're cooked down. You just want to pull them out and put them to the side. And now you guys know, waste not, want not. We do not waste food in this household. So once I take these out and add them to the pan, the plate. Once I get these plated up, I'm going to take a little bit more butter and I'm going to add that back into the pan and let it melt down. And what we're going to do is we're going to cook off the little discs that we cut out from the egg in the holes. I don't like to waste those. Those are actually like my favorite part of the breakfast, if I'm being honest. So I like to throw those into the butter. and let those toast up really, really well, and I'll serve those on the side. And then while that is melting down and I'm adding those into toast, I'm also going to take that avocado and I'm going to just cut it up and mash it on top of the toast that we've already plated up. And while all of that is getting done, let's talk about Entranced by the Basilisk by Lillian Lark. This popped up on Libby a couple months ago, and I was like, I gotta read this because everyone loves Lillian Lark, and I understand why. Entranced by the Basilisk is the story of our FMC Amelia. She is currently working in a magical artifacts kind of museum, and when she is asked to restore a book for her boss, the book basically enchants her and she becomes a modern day Medusa and she starts turning people into stone. It just so happens that the only people that can help her are her boss and his boss's lover, Ari, who are both basilisks. Y'all, this was so good. If you love monster romance, specifically if you really enjoyed Sweet Vengeance by Viano Oniyomo, I think you will really love this. I enjoy the relationship dynamics between all three of the characters. Amelia, Jasper, and Ari were so adorable. I love the way that we get to see them all healing their own traumas and connecting with one another. And getting over a lot of their own personal insecurities as well. This was really, really spicy. It was hot, okay? This is a serious kink list on this book, but it was so good. I have to go back. I didn't realize this was the third book in a series, so I have to go back and read the first two. But yeah, if you love monster romance, get into some Lillian Lark, okay? So if you guys noticed, I went ahead and took out those toast rounds and I added my tomatoes to the pan, and I'm going to go ahead and let those cook down. I want them to get some really nice color on them. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to candy these. So I'm going to take about 2 teaspoons of sugar after these are cooked a little bit, and I'm going to just let that set. What that's going to do is it's going to caramelize in the pan, and so the tomatoes are going to be really juicy, but they're also going to have this really like crunchy exterior, and it's the perfect bite of like sweet, salty, and a little acidity. It's really, really good. And while we finish letting those cook down, you see me munching on those little toast points. I also finally finished the McLean Brothers series by Alexandria House. Y'all know I love me some Alexandria House. And the last book in the series is Let Me Free You. This is Neil and Sage's book. At the start of the book, Sage is struggling because she is facing deportation to a country that, while she is from, she has never actually been to. Neil is really in his like healing era. He is fresh out of rehab. He's finally doing well, and his family comes up with the idea that he should marry Sage and help her stay in the country. At first he's skeptical, but then he says, you know what, let's do this. They get married and they just have the most adorable connection ever. This was really cute. It was a pretty fast-paced book, and I just love the dynamic between Neil and Sage. Neil is kind of a hotep, but he's a lovable hotep. Probably the only time I'll ever say that. And Sage was just adorable. So I love the entire McLean Brothers series, but the first book and the last book were the two that were definite 5 stars for me. All right, let's plate this up. So I'm going to add some Everything But The Bagel seasoning onto my avocado. I love this stuff. It just goes with everything. It's so yummy. You need to have Everything But The Bagel in your pantry. I'm just saying. You can get it at Trader Joe's. And then I'm going to go ahead and add on my candied tomatoes. Y'all, this came out so pretty. I don't know. I love the colors of this dish. It's just the perfect, like, salty, sweet, creamy, crunchy bite. It's so good. And then to finish this off, I'm going to take some of my balsamic glaze from Trader Joe's. You want to get the glaze, not the balsamic vinegar. You want the glaze. There's a difference. I don't really like balsamic vinegar, but I love this glaze. And we're just going to drizzle that on top. I love this stuff. It goes with so many things, and it is great to have in your kitchen. And that's what she looks like. I'm going to sit down and read and eat. And I think this day when I filmed, I was reading Wicked Beauty by Katie Robert. I've been finished this book like several months ago, but just so you know, it is bomb. Y'all know I love the Dark Olympus series. And last but not least, my final 5-star read for the month of August was a short story by R.M. Romero, and that is The Ghost of Rose Hill. This is about a young violinist who goes to summer with her aunt in Prague, and while she's there, she discovers an abandoned and ruined Jewish cemetery and the ghosts who inhabit it. There is so much in this story. There's a little bit of mystery. We also have a little bit of romance. And there's also some spooky elements in there as well. I thoroughly enjoyed this. It was a super duper quick read. And I just felt like it touched on so many important points, especially within the Jewish faith and culture. So yeah, those are my 5-star reads for August. I had an amazing reading month, and I have the feeling September is going to be just as good. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that recipe. It was so good. I actually kind of want to make some now because it's delicious. Like, one of my favorite recipes. I'm telling y'all, egg in the holes, some of the best. Like, it's toast but dressed up. You get what I'm saying? So if you're like a fancy bitch but you don't have a lot of time to be doing fancy bitch shit, it's a good recipe. So let's go ahead and talk about the books that I am currently reading. I have a lot going on. I have been getting into doing more arc reading, and for a while it was like nothing was biting, but then all of a sudden I was getting approved for arcs left and right. The first book that I want to talk about is actually coming out this week. This is going to be out September 5th, I believe. I will write that here if it is incorrect. I have so many arcs going on at the same time, y'all, and they're all coming out like on the same week. The first one is The Salt Road by Cassidy. She is the brilliant author of Obsidian Feathers, which I have sitting right here, and this is book 2 in the Fire on the Horizons series. Y'all, it is so good. This is actually a short erotic horror, and it is something else. And it is following the story of our not so beloved character, Annette, who we meet in Obsidian Feathers. Annette is the mother of our main character, Sochi. And if you've read Obsidian Feathers, then you hate her. It's very much F that bitch. Yeah, we don't like her. I won't give any spoilers, but I will just tell you guys that the book is bomb. It's perfect for spooky season. If you're someone who really is into like horror, you don't mind a little bit of erotic horror, you don't mind a lot of body horror, then I think you will really enjoy this. And Nemi's writing is just... It'd been about a couple of months since I had finished Obsidian Feathers, and I almost forgot how just deliciously stunning Nemi's writing is. It is so rich and descriptive, and it's just the kind of writing style that you just want to sit in front of a bonfire and like have somebody read it to you. Like, that's how descriptive and just rich and vivid Nemi's writing is. If you have not read Obsidian Feathers, you need to read Obsidian Feathers before you read The Salt Road, okay? If you already love the work of Cassidy, then you need to make sure you pick up The Salt Road when it comes out. And then, speaking of arc reading, I'm also reading another spooky season arc, and this is Her Favorite Jack-O-Lantern by Rebecca Rennick. This is my first read from Rebecca Rennick, and I love it. I believe she already has another existing book out, and this book specifically is book 2 in her Gummy Bear Orgy series. There's a whole story behind that. Go follow her, check her out, read her work. So far, I'm loving it. It is so adorable. This is kind of a small town spooky season romance. We have our main character who is kind of known as like the freak of the town, even though she really isn't. Like she just cooler than everybody else. She lives in a black house. She drives a hearse. She's giving very much Wednesday Addams, right? And, she's struggling, looking for love and all of that until one of her old classmates comes back into town. Jack, he's fresh out of the army. He had his own personal motivations and some that were not his own to having to go into the army, and he's trying to get his life back. And this is the story of those two. So I'm enjoying it so far. I'm not super duper far in, but I am also really enjoying that as well. I'll have a picture up here because I am reading an e-arc. So that also comes out on the 5th. So go ahead and check those out if they sound interesting to you. If you need good spooky season recs, both of them are really good. One is more on the spooky side. The other is more like cute spooky season vibes. And of course, you need to add obsidian feathers to your spooky season TBR if you haven't already. If you guys want a spooky season TBR, let me know. I'll film one for you. Audiobooks. I am almost finished reading Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is the second book in the Brown Sisters series, and I love it. I told you guys I absolutely loved Get a Life, Chloe Brown. That one was really fun. It has really great disability and chronic illness rep, as well as mental health rep, and this is no different. Talia Hibbert just gets it for me every single. I love me some Talia Hibbert. I love me some Talia Hibbert. Y'all know Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute was one of my favorite books this year. And this one, I think I like it more than Get a Life, Chloe Brown. This is the story of Danny and Zafir. Danny is a current PhD student, and Zafir is working as security at the college that she is attending and teaching at. They've been friends for a little while, and Zafir has been just like enamored with Danny for some time. And after a fire drill gone wrong where Danny gets stuck in the elevator and Zafir has to come and pull her out, they are caught when they come out of the building. He's just holding her and just looking at her like she is just a goddess literally on earth. People take video, they hit the internet, and they instantly become this adorable internet sensation because Zafir is an ex-rugby player with a very difficult past. Working on his mental health charities, he decides to use this as an opportunity to help boost what he is doing for his kids and for his community. And so he and Danny go into a fake dating relationship. But y'all already know how this is going to go because Zafir was head over heels for our girl before he even knew he was head over heels for her. I'm eating this shit up. Y'all, eating this shit up. It is so good. Zafir is probably one of my favorite male main characters of all time. He is so precious. I think because he is so incredibly self-aware. I love me some Zafir. I love me some Danica Brown. It's really, really good. I'm really enjoying it. I have like an hour of the audiobook left, so I'll probably listen to it while I'm sitting down and editing all of these videos I just filmed. On to physical. I'm trying to finish these before the end of the week because I have to return them and I don't have any more renewals on them because people have them on hold. First is Hitting a Straight Lick with a Crooked Stick by Zora Neale Hurston. This is a collection of kind of long lost stories that have been picked up, re-edited in the style of Zora and compiled into this book. And so far, I am loving them. The last time when I did the Kennedy Ryan Spotlight, I told you guys that I had read, did I talk about this in that? Yeah, I did, because it was in that library haul. The first story had me in tears. It was so good. Zora does no wrong, and I love going back and reading Zora's work as an adult now because so much of her work I read as a child. And it's just a whole different vibe. It's a whole different understanding, right? I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I'm actually a pretty decent way through, and I feel like I'm going to try to hit around the 50% mark tonight and finish this tomorrow while I am waiting on the kids to come back from their specials. And then we have X's and O's by Amy Leah. This is book 2 in the Influencer series. Y'all, my legs trying to cramp up. This is book 2 in the influencer series. And this is an interconnected standalone series. So we have our main characters, Tara and Trevor. Tara is the sister of Crystal. It took a second for me to remember that. It's been like several months since I read Set on You, which I also loved. Tara is Crystal's sister, and she is currently in the process of moving out because Crystal and her boo are getting married and moving in together. So Tara ends up moving in with Scott's best friend and co-worker, Trevor. And it gets off to a rocky start. And when I say it gets off to a rocky start, the day she moves in, she gets mugged. And then when she finally gets to the new apartment, she walks in on Trevor banging someone on the counter. Yeah, it gets off to a rocky start, but they are still both incredibly lovable characters, but they are kind of characters that are all over the place. Tara is a bookish influencer, and she has her own little YouTube segment where she talks about her current dating life as someone who is not only an influencer, but a full-time nurse. While she is doing one of her segments with her grandma, they do this segment on second chance romances, and her grandma tells her of the story of how she met her grandfather. And Tara decides that she is going to try to manufacture her own second chance romance by reaching out to some of her exes. It sounds like a horrible idea, right? Because it is. So right now we are currently in the throes of her going through the motions of reintroducing herself to these guys and really truly understanding that there is a reason why some people need to remain exes. And in the process, Trevor is helping her and coaxing her through it. And I love how they are both so blissfully unaware of the fact that they are so obviously perfect for each other. It's really cute. It's a little nonsensical, but I think it's a really, really fun read if you want something that's just really light and fluffy and you don't mind your characters being a little bit ditzy, because Tara and Trevor are a little bit ditzy. I'm gonna be honest, but I knew Trevor was ditzy. He was ditzy and Set on You. So this is really, really good. Like I said in the library haul, I really enjoy the influencer series because I feel like Amy does a really good job of writing influencers in a way that is not cringy or too corny. And I love the way that she integrates that mixed media into the work as well. So really enjoying this. And then I'm going to be starting both of these this weekend. The first one is my buddy read with my friend Yasmin. This is The Obelisk Gate. We recently finished working on the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, and we loved it. So we are just going to hop right back in. The only reason I haven't started this is because I'm trying to finish those 2 books so I can return them. And then I'm going to immediately open this baby up. And then I'm also going to be working on Drag Me Up by R.M. Virtues. This is one of the books I have on my Storygraph challenge for the 23 for 23 challenge that was started by Nisha Sharma and a couple of other author individuals. I will try to leave a link for the challenge down below in the description, but it is a challenge to read 23 books by BIPOC authors by the end of 2023. And you guys know I already have my 23, but I thought it would just be fun to go ahead and do it anyway. So this is going to be on there because I was already planning on reading it. I didn't make it to working on this for August because you guys know this was on my TBR, but I'm excited to read it. This is a dark Hades and Persephone retelling, and I'm really excited because this does feature trans characters. So everyone has told me that this book is amazing, and I want to go ahead and work on it so I can start on the other books in the series. Talk about TBR. I have several random things here, and I feel like a lot of these I'm going to get through. Many of these are new in my collection. My mutual Satoria from Satray Reads over on TikTok has been raving about this book, and I really enjoyed the first one. I read the first book from this author, I want to say in January. And I really enjoyed that, so I wanted to see what this was about. This is With Love from Cold War by Alicia Thompson, and I picked up the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. The original edition of this, the background is actually blue, the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. This one is pink. Lauren Fox is the bookkeeper for Cold War, a tourist destination that's always a winter wonderland despite being located in humid Orlando, Florida. Sure, it's ranked way below any other trademark amusement parks, and maybe foot traffic could be better, but it's a fun place to work, even if fun isn't exactly Lauren's middle name. Her co-worker, Asa Williamson, on the other hand, is all about finding ways to enliven his days at Cold War, whether that means organizing the Secret Santa or teasing Lauren. When the owner asks Lauren and Asa to propose something, anything really, to raise more revenue, the rivalry heats up as they compete to come up with the best idea. But the situation is more dire than they thought, and it might take these polar opposites working together to save the day. If Asa thought that Lauren didn't know how to enjoy herself, he's surprised by how much she enjoys spending time with her. And if Lauren thought Asa wasn't serious about anything, she's surprised by how seriously he seems to take her. As Lauren and Asa work to rescue their beloved wintry spot, they realize the real attraction might be the heat generating between them. I'm really excited to get into this. The only reservation, though, the male main character's first name is not a very popular name. It's also my grandpa's name. So it's probably going to be a little weird reading this because I have never met another Asa in my life outside of his son, who was Asa Jr., my uncle. And he also named my aunt after him. Her name is Asery. But yeah, that's probably going to throw me for a loop. But she said that she was absolutely in love with this, and everything Satoria loves, I love. So I can't wait to read this. And I also just love the cover. I need to go and pick up the first book in this, which is called Love in the Time of Serial Killers. And I'm assuming that all of these are going to be taking place in Florida, because the first book took place in Florida too, so. And then I told you guys that I was going to be starting on this series because the third book in the trilogy just came out. This is Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue, and this is book 1 in the Souls trilogy. Really excited to get into this. This is a story of Leon and Ray. I love anything monster romance, demons, all of that stuff. Right up my alley. And y'all know I love me some Harley LaRue. Losers is like my life. I love that shit. So I just know this is going to be amazing because people talk about this with the same type of like love and fervor that they have for Losers. So I'm really excited to get into this. This is another one. These next two are two that I have on my challenge, my Storygraph challenge for the 23 for 23. I think I can leave a link for my Storygraph. If you want to follow me on Storygraph, I finally have it updated with all the books that I've read this year. So I'll leave a link down in my description box if you want to go follow me and check me out on Storygraph because it has all of my stats and stuff there. American Royalty by Tracy Livesay. Heard amazing things about it. I picked this up a while ago. Still have not read it. But I just picked up book 2 from Barnes & Noble. I picked that up when I picked up With Love from Cold War. So I want to get into this. Everyone says that this is Harry and Meghan, but instead of Meghan Markle, we have Meg the Stallion. And if that isn't up my alley, I don't know what is. Also, can we just talk about how gorgeous this cover is? I love a black girl on the cover. I live for it. So I've heard amazing things about this one and mixed reviews on book 2. So I'm hyped to read this. But like I said, I do have that on the Storygraph challenge. And you guys had to know that I was going to pick this up because I absolutely love book 1 in the series. This is Taste Like Shocker by Nisha Sharma. This is about Bobby and Bunty, who we met in book 1. And Bobby and Bunty are currently helping to plan Prim and Karina's wedding. And if you can't tell by the cover art, they'll be getting on each other's nerves. I'm excited because I just love the way that Nisha writes. I love just the entire formatting of this in general. The way that she formats this series in general, I adore. I love the culture because I just know that the food is going to be popping off in this book because Bunty is a chef. So, yeah. And guys, this is not including the mountain of arcs I have to read. Don't judge me. That's why a lot of these books are much shorter. I'm trying to keep them short because I'm trying to get through as many as I possibly can. We also have The Assassins by Jade Presley. This is book 3 in the Shattered Isle series. This in particular is about Jessie and her assassins, who we met in Her Revenge, book 2. So I'm excited to get into this. This is a why choose, kind of more so like sci-fi fantasy type situation. If you are a fan of like the Avengers or the X-Men, that is what this series gives. And it's good. I recently finished Her Mates, which is the novella, which follows the original cast of characters, Kari and her mates. Jessie is Kari's best friend, who we meet in those books. So I just know this is good. I usually fly through these books, and I have the feeling this will be no different. And then I think there's one more book in this series, which I also purchased. And Katie Robert. I love me some Katie Robert. I have lots of new Katie Robert in my collection, so I'm going to be reading my new Katie Robert. I also feel like Katie Robert's books are just it for me going into like fall and winter season, because so many of her books just have that perfectly dark aura to them. First is Cruel Seduction. This is what, book 5? This is book 5 in the Dark Olympus series, and you guys know I live for the Dark Olympus series. And this is, I believe this is Why Choose Polly M as well. Aphrodite and Hephaestus, but we're also throwing in Adonis and Pandora, if I remember right. Yeah, Aphrodite and Hephaestus, but Pandora and Adonis are getting thrown into the mix too. And if you want to know how hot this is going to be, I'm just saying. If you don't pay attention to Katie Roberts' books, the Dark Olympus series always has really beautiful end papers in the front. So I'm excited to get into this. And I just love how diverse the cast of characters in the Dark Olympus series is. This is not fantasy. There's no magic system. The Greek gods and mythology are all part of a political system, not a magical system. So just a heads up on that. Katie Roberts' books are just pure, unadulterated smut, but I am loving the direction that this series has been going in with the political intrigue as well. So I can't wait to read this. And I'm already ready for Midnight Ruin. I don't think it comes out until like January or February, but I'm already excited. And then I came across this in Target, and I'd seen some people talk about this. I believe that this was originally her marriage contract series, but this is now the O'Malley series and has been traditionally published now. This is Dark Succession, and this is a marriage of convenience situation. I need to take this sticker off. I need to get out my blow dryer and get the sticker off. I hate these stickers. Teague O'Malley hates everything associated with his family name, and when his father orders him to marry Callista Sheridan to create a business alliance, Teague's ready to quit. Teague's ready to cut ties once and for all. But then Teague actually meets Callista, sees the bruises on her neck and the trauma in her eyes, and he vows he will do everything in his power to avenge her. Everyone knows the O'Malleys are dangerous, but Callie wasn't prepared for his brand of lethal grace and coiled power. His slightest touch scorches through her, but the closer they get, the more trouble they're in, because Callie's keeping a dark secret, and what Teague doesn't know could get him killed. I'm excited to get into this. I feel like this is going to be a really like spicy, quick read, which I love. So that's what I love Katie Robert for. I also have book 2 in this, Heated Rivals. Y'all will see that in the haul. And then I think this fall, the 3rd book is supposed to be coming out as well, which I think is called Twisted Secrets. Yeah, Twisted Secrets. So I don't know if she's done the cover reveal for that, but the covers on these are really beautiful. So I just know this is going to be good. And continuing on with some dark romance, we have Twisted by Emily McIntyre. This is book 3 Is it book 3? Book 4 in the Never After series. I picked this up on Amazon last week because it was suddenly like $10, like out of the blue. Like it's been priced at like $18 for months, and suddenly it went down to $10. So you know I picked that bitch up. And I think this is supposed to be a Jasmine and Jafar situation. Let's see. Yasmin Karam, daughter to one of the richest men in the world, has never known strife. So when her beloved father falls ill, she's determined to make his final days his happiest. His last wish, to see her married to a man of his choosing. Except Yasmin's heart already belongs to someone else, a servant, a man her father would never consider worthy. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, Yasmin strikes a desperate deal with her father's right-hand man, Julian, not realizing he has his own twisted agenda. Julian Farasi has one goal: become the most powerful man in the world. He's built a future from broken bones and faded bruises, never caring who he hurt along the way. But when his mentor falls ill, he finds himself on the verge of losing everything, and he'll stop at nothing to inherit what is rightfully his, even if it means forcing a woman he can't stand into marriage. Yasmin is a brat who speaks out of turn, and he's the villain of her story. But he decides she'll be his, no matter what it takes to convince her. Y'all. Have me at brat. I love the Never After series. If you're someone who roots for the villain, you have to read the Never After series by Emily McIntyre, because all of them are reimagine Disney stories where the villain gets the happy ending, and they're so good. Right now, I would have to say that my favorite out of all of them has been Wretched. That is Wizard of Oz, and the main character is the Wicked Witch, or Eveline in the book, and it is so good. I'm going to add all three of these to my 23 for 23 reading challenge. The first is Vicious Bonds by Shanora Williams. Had this in my collection for a while, and I need to get to it. I think this is supposed to be like dark fantasy with some mafia elements in there as well. I think there's supposed to be more than one book. I just don't think she's written the second book yet. So I am really hyped to start this. I feel like I can finish it. I've heard so many amazing things about this book. So many people have recommended it to me. So I'll let you guys know. I feel like this is potentially a 5-star read. So we'll see. And I was desperately waiting for this to come out on paperback because I just had to have this in my collection. This is by Christina C. Jones, and it's book 1 in her Blackwood Billion series. This is Hostile Takeover. Y'all, I love me some Marriage of Convenience. For Nalani Stark, legacy matters, maybe more than most things. Important enough that when the legacy, inextricably tied to her mother's memory, is challenged, she's forced to consider even the most undesirable options, such as a match made in hell with Orion Sterling, heir to the competitor she grew up being warned about. Orion is a man well accustomed to getting exactly what he wants. Other than opportunities to grow the family business, he's moved by very few things, one of which happens to be Nalani Stark. They each have something the other needs, and only one way to get it: a contract that delineates exactly what each person takes from the arrangement. Simple enough, unless feelings get brought into the exchange. I have heard that this is fabulous. Can we talk about the cover? It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I had to have it on my shelf. I can't wait to get into this. I just know this book is going to have me salivating. But all of my bookish friends have told me that this was phenomenal, so I cannot wait to start reading. Last but certainly not least, this has been on my mental for a while, and I said, bitch, if you don't go ahead and read this, this just has super dark vibes, and I've tried to pull this out and read it a few times and never got around to it. That is Ace of Spades. And this is YA dark academia with some thriller aspects thrown in there. Y'all, I've heard nothing but amazing things about this book, and I hate that it has taken me this long to get to it, but that's okay, because I'm going to get to it. I'm going to have this read before the end of the month. Hopefully I will enjoy this as much as everyone else does, and I'm definitely going to be adding this to my 23 for 23 challenge. All right, guys, that is it for this video. Your girl's got a headache, so I'm gonna go out and chill and then work on editing some videos for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know, like I said, if you want a spooky season TBR, because we can definitely do that for sure. And let me know if you have read any of these. Like always, I will have recipes down in the description box below, along with other important links. I will have the 23 for 23 challenge link down below, as well as my Storygraph account linked for you as well. I love you guys, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.